Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to talk about the GI Joe Haslab and really what we all believe that it's going to be, and that is the Cobra Rattler. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say is, why would you think that? Well, I'll be honest, I was one that's on the fence. I said it's not going to be a Rattler. I thought the Rattler was going to be too big, but I've had a lot of people whispering in my ear that it's going to be a Rattler. There's been lots of rumors about it. But really the biggest hint comes from this. And this is from the GI Joe live stream where he wore a Rattler shirt. Now people are going to say, big deal. What does that mean? Well, if you remember back before the Hiss tank was announced, Lenny wore a Hiss shirt. They love dropping little Easter eggs. And what we're really going to be looking at is, if it is a Rattler, what we're going to be getting, and then the four figures that we're going to get with it. Because it seems like that's what they do. Four figures, but we can kind of talk about some of the other things. Now, if you guys don't know, I correctly predicted that the Dragonfly was going to be the Haslab. Now, I know before anyone gets into things like that, yes, the prediction video was before the Hiss Tank Haslab came out. So I was just a year early, but you know what? A win is a win, and I'm going to take it. But we're going to take a look at it. Also, I want to try these new microphones that I've got. Got some dual mics, so I can hopefully get some better sound and maybe even do some stuff when Joe Fest comes along. Create some content for you guys, because I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to go. So anyway, enough with all of that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this here. As I say, I got this Rattler thanks to Aaron, the toy enhancer, so I can actually use this as our little prop. But before we do, and we get over there, if you like this type of content, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified when I drop prediction videos that are correct, even if they're, like a year ahead of time. I mean, other YouTubers, they say they predict, that they correctly predicted things just because they did it 4 years ago and the figure finally came out. Why can't little old Punk do the same thing? Let's get to this really quick. Alright, so here we're taking a look at the Rattler. And the first thing you got to think about, if you're going to get a Rattler, it's going to come with all its missiles and the pilot. Now, the one thing that I would say that we have learned when it comes to the Haslabs and what's going forward, at least for the GI Joe team, is you're going to get four figures. The base offering, they said they learned people want figures in the tiers. So everything that comes with the base offering should be Wild Weasel, the pilot, along with all the blast effects and any other types of things like that. They said they learned with the Hiss tank, they're not going to do that type of stuff. And with the Dragonfly, the base offering had everything. So the first thing we know is that these wings are going to have to articulate up and down. That is a huge feature on this, right? So with this, I would assume, just like the Dragonfly, you're going to have some sort of flight stand, right? But with a flight stand, you would think that you're going to want to have some sort of blast effects here, just so it can look like it's hovering up and down, or if it is in flight mode, that the jet exhaust is coming off. And there is a third one in the back. Now, maybe they would remove that because they feel they don't need that, but if they're going to stay close to the design, you would assume there's going to be three. But I think for the most part, you really need to have some to have it hovering, whether it's coming up or down. And I think that is huge when it comes to these Rattlers, right? I don't remember them using it so much in the movies, but as the toy, they want to stay pretty close to what we had before. Something that you have to have. The other thing is the landing gear. Now, let's hope that they create some landing gear that is a little bit more robust than what we had here. The fact that any landing gear is still intact in the year 2024 absolutely blows my mind. Again, a big thanks to Aaron, the toy enhancer, for refurbishing this for me. We have all the missiles. Again, we know that the missiles are going to have some sort of blast effects. Probably something similar or the exact same as the Dragonfly. You're not going to get as many for this. You're not going to get blast effects for every missile because there's just so many. If I remember correctly, there's 14. I guess we could count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 14. Yes, some are bombs. I get it. I just called them missiles. Please don't leave the comment that, oh my god, I can't believe you did that. Alright. And then we have the giant Gatling gun. And this is obviously not only very important to the Rattler, but the A-10 design in general. Again, this is not an actual A-10 because it has a gunner spot. One thing that you will have to do, and I will hope they keep the gunner, is that create a gun that isn't shooting into the pilot. That would become a huge problem, and probably use some sort of 50 cals. But however they would design this to make it so the gunner spot, because again, a real A-10 does not have that, they would be able to modify that. But you're going to have the engine compartments. If you remember, there's an engine compartment here. There's obviously the engine compartments right above the engine. And the other thing that I would love to see them do is the battle damage. If you remember correctly, this one here, which is also an engine cover, and the engine cover over here had some swappable pieces that made it battle damage. I feel like that is something Lenny would definitely, keep and stick with. I would assume the turbines would probably spin a little bit just to give it that look. I think this is going to be a fairly expensive Haslab if this is what it ends up being. You have the Gatling gun that would probably spin, but you're also going to need to have some lights, and I would assume lights that light up the cockpit, which would be pretty awesome, but maybe have a spotlight shining down, so as it's hovering down, it could use it to spotlight stuff. All right, that's pretty much how the Rattler, in my opinion, will be to begin with. Now let's take a look at the figures that I think it will come with or possibly could. And first is Wild Weasel. They know for a fact that you have to give them the pilot. Wild Weasel is essential with this. Am I wrong? No, I'm not. I think everyone realizes exactly how essential Wild Weasel is here because he is the pilot of the Rattler and he's also in charge of the whole Cobra Air Force. So that's Wild Weasel. The second figure is going to have to be a gunner. The same with the Hiss tank. There was a gunner. It was very important. And so what I did was I had just grabbed a regular Cobra Trooper to show that you would probably have some sort of Air Force gunner. Now, maybe they go with the female version. They are real heavy on putting females in, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Also, it does take up, she would take up less space, but you also want to make sure that this gunner position also holds a regular classified figure. But my guess is we're going to get some sort of gunner, probably have a parachute on it since they were always parachuting. Yeah, I have to give them some sort of gun, but a female or male gunner, just like the Hiss tank, and I think you're looking at a figure that you don't really have to recreate. You don't have to worry about doing it because why else would you need a Cobra Air gunner? The second figure, the third figure, which would be the second tier unlock, I believe would be a Strato Viper. Now some people are saying, no, it can't be that. I was watching the Full Force and they were talking about the tiers that you might get. And they said, no, if they do a Rattler, there's no reason why they can't do a Night Raven. I disagree. They've already told you they can't do the Tomcat. They can't do the Sky Striker because it's too big. And guess what? Well, the Night Raven is bigger. But if you want people to buy multiple multiple Rattlers, you might want to have other pilots. Wild Weasel is a character. So they're not going to look all the same. They're not all going to look like that. So why not give Strato Viper? And what you're looking at here, it would just be the regular Strato Viper. Now this is actually from the GI Joe movie Night Raven. Please don't make that one. It's not worth our time. But this is essentially what he looks like. Now let's say they wanted to go the Glenda route and they give you Raven. Now she's from the cartoon. She was a specific character for the Strato Viper. Now maybe they want to do that. I know a lot of people want to see that figure, but I think in my opinion, if you wanted to have an actual character, this might work pretty well. So my opinion is the second tier, the third figure in the Rattler Haslab, if it is a Haslab, and I will continue to say that, would be the Strato Viper. Again, I want to have an army of, you know, these. I'm not saying I want an army, but there are people that want to have multiple ones. You need pilots. And yes, you can go back to exactly what happened in GI Joe. Everyone could fly, everyone could drive anything, but some people like the pilots. And then for the fourth figure, the third unlock, is this guy. You need someone to command him. And now, he's not only going to command this, he's not only going to direct the Rattler, but you also have the Trouble Bubbles. Eventually, you're going to have the Cobra Claws. You're going to have a Fang, right? You're going to have these figures. And before anyone says that doesn't make any sense, obviously you would give him a weapon. He would be some sort of reuse of the pilot. I'm sorry, not the pilot. The gunner, all right? And before anyone says it doesn't make any sense, remember, in the Sky Striker Haslab, they put in a Night Force ripcord. And that's what we're getting with the Dragonfly. So I think this would be great. It opens up the door to do air controlmen for the GI Joe, because you'd have the different type of accessories and all that other type of stuff, along with obviously their gear. But this is my idea. This is what I have a feeling we might be getting. I was really against a Rattler. I think it's going to be very large. It's going to be more expensive, and it's going to take more real estate than most people think. But I'd like to hear your comment on what you guys think. All right, so there you have it. That is my opinion of what I believe the Haslab is going to be. Please, in the comments, tell me what you guys think. We know this has now been pushed back to be the San Diego Comic-Con Haslab. Before anyone wonders why they're doing that, it is because the Star Wars one got pushed back, or we would be getting it for Yojo June. I don't know that for a fact, but there would be no reason to change that. They would still have it at San Diego Comic-Con. My opinion, when it comes to the Star Wars Haslab, Lucasfilm came in, told them, nope, we want this, we want that, we want this change, and they had to go back and redo, not redo everything, but add and make changes on the fly. You don't have to believe me. I don't know this for a fact. I just know that they've had to do stuff like this before, because they had everything ready to go on the 3rd for May the 4th. That pushed back this Haslab because Emily had talked about it when she was down with Dan Hu and said, we learned a lesson not to run multiple Haslabs at the same time. I don't know why you needed anyone to explain that or figure that out, especially at Christmas time. I mean, what idiot didn't realize, you know what? Trying to do 3 Haslabs at the same time, 2 of them which have a crossover fan base, probably isn't a good idea. Oh, and by the way, it ends in December. What's in December? Let's think about that. Santa Claus comes. Oh, yes, Christmas. Earmuffs, kids. Santa Claus doesn't bring the figure or bring the toys. Anyway. But I'd love to hear what your feelings are, what you guys think. Do you think I'm full of it? Do you think we're all wrong? Do you think we've all jumped? I really thought at first it would be the Thunder Machine for the Dreadnoks. I think they could do a whole bunch of awesome things with that, just for the base, having different models, because that thing was really kit bashed to begin with. When that didn't work, I started thinking, Destro. They're going really hard with the Iron Grenadiers. Personally, that's still what I would like. I love the Rattler. It was one of my favorite toys growing up. Thank you, Aaron, the Toy Enhancer, for sending me one of these, because I still wouldn't have one if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't have another one, I guess I could say. So I'm not opposed to getting a Rattler, nor would I be upset. And yes, it will take up a lot of real estate. Now, as long as you can hang it from a ceiling, you can actually take care of that. They're obviously going to have a stand, which does work because you can still fit figures underneath it. But this thing, if it is the Haslab, it is going to be a monster. It's already scaled down, so you can't really scale it down more. But that's just my opinion. But I want to hear what you guys have to say, so tell me in the comments. Also, tell me if the sound is any better, because I like these mics. I'm not a fan of wearing a mic while doing a review, but if it gives you guys better sound, I'm all for it, because really, you're not looking at me, you're looking at the actual video when I'm doing stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with some GI Joe stuff. But before I go, please take a second. Instagram, A Punk with Toys, there's 2. Please follow them. The Facebook group page, Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a punk with toys. And if you're wondering right now, I am trying not to cough. I'm trying not. Everything went dry in my throat. But please take a second, hit that like button, hit that bell notification, hit that subscribe button. It really does help the algorithm, and it helps the channel to grow. I'm gonna get out of here. Don't go anywhere. Here's some GI Joe stuff classified, and here's a playlist of all the GI Joe stuff.